Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely sorry for having come late. I have to cross 3 districts to come here. My office is in Namambe, which is in Mukono. So you go to Mukono, then you come to Wakiso, then Kampala district. It's a very long journey. And secondly, I want to apologize for having put you off, I think 3 times or 2 times. I don't remember. Because I'm an extremely busy person, running up and down. Last week I was in Rwanda. The other week I was in Joburg. There is a leadership talk coming up by President Obama. He's going to be addressing most of us. I'll tell you why. Somewhere in July this year. And so, but she was very patient with me because I'm committed. I never stop speaking with people, because if people never spoke to me, I would not be where I am. That's the reason I'm here, and thank you for your patience. My name is Rugyendo, Arinaitwe, and I will speak off the cuff because there was no particular topic that was given to me. And so I just speak off the cuff, but I have picked the theme, bravery. But one, I am so many things. Number one, I am married with 4 children. I have finished. I'm 41 now. Number 2, I'm a total orphan. Some of you might have read my story because I passed it around. I don't know whether people got a chance to read it. I think it was important so that you know where my speaking is going to come from. Then I'm a journalist, self-trained journalist. I never studied journalism. Never. Never. When I was completing my A6 from a seminary where I was supposed to be a priest, you went to Makerere for social sciences. I think I did political science and sociology for the bachelor's. And but while there, I followed my passion, and that was writing. So I found myself in a newsroom at the Daily Monitor. That time it was the Monitor, now it's Daily Monitor, reporting casually. And I would walk on foot from Makerere to Namuongo to deliver a story, handwritten story. You're talking about internet. That time there was no email, there was no internet, serious internet to talk about. So you'd handwrite your story and walk with it to the newsroom. That was pretty much about 1998. So, so I self-taught journalism. The other remarkable thing is, after achieving all that, then I'm one of the few fellows of the African Leadership Institute from Uganda here, under the Archbishop Desmond Tutu Leadership Program. Every year, only 23 are chosen out of 600 nominations across the continent. So I was in the class of 2012. The very reason I'm going to be in South Africa in July, as Obama comes to speak on Mandela Day. And what we do mainly, we are pursuing these kinds of ideas. In fact, before I came here, I even had to tell them I'm going to address people. They are already following, I think, what I'm doing. And we tackle leadership to its core. We also tackle entrepreneurship. We tackle African development. We also pursue ideas that we think will uplift this continent to first world status. And there are so many ideas, leadership being one of them, and one of the things we're trying to solve on the continent. Then I'm also a fellow of the Crans Montana Forum for Future Leaders. That one is another one based in Europe, but its core theme is bridging the gap between the North and South. Those of you might understand the things. You have the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere, and the imbalance that happens, trade-wise, political-wise, even security-wise. So all these things we discuss 3 times a year in different cities, and generate ideas which we give to governments in those 2 places. And then perhaps the most important one is Amanobi of Narufenya. and Ruzira for having written a story that Rwanda and Uganda were about to fight. We thought we were only saving the situation, trying to ensure that there's no war between the two countries, but we were misunderstood and taken in for about I think 40 something days. But we are back and we are back to normal. So I was told that I should speak about how have I managed to survive all these things, and I keep moving. That summarizes my story from way back when I joined Makerere University. I will speak in about 2 or 3 phases. The first phase is that phase, perhaps when I was your age. I don't know. I joined Makerere in 1996. I don't know whether all of you had been born, but that's when I joined. But I was coming from a very, very, very poor background. You've seen the story. And, but my preoccupation while at Makerere University, one, I was lucky for having been admitted on government sponsorship because my mother would not have managed it. She was a primary school teacher. But when I was there, I had the obligation to look after people back home, like maybe all of us. But sometimes you need to hear from others to be able to understand your own situation. So I would do odd jobs. The first one was I was working on a farm belonging to a certain professor. I was the dean of arts around that time, faculty of arts. Then the other job was, but while I was there in Mitiana, I planted 20,000 trees, looked after his goats and pigs, and he gave me 90,000 shillings. That was, no, 150,000 shillings. It was good money. And I paid fees, everything, for the children back home, and came back to Makerere for another year. So during another vacation, I found myself working at a hotel in Makindye. It's called Kalenda now, Kalenda Hotel. That time it was Kalenda Rest House, serving as a waiter. But that was the most important moment for me, because while I was working as a waiter, and moreover a student at Makerere University, being able to speak very good English, people would be surprised how can waiters speak good English. So people would ask me, how? You speak good English? What are you doing here? I said, you know, I'm a student and I'm looking for this and that, survival and stuff like that. Okay, here is my business card. When you finish, look for me. So I had those kinds of people, hundreds of them. The time I went back to Makerere for 3rd year to start writing, I had a cache of business cards like this. And people were asking me, come for a job, because they were impressed. They had never seen a student doing something like that. They would expect Makerere University students to be, you know, hands off. They despise jobs. They despise stuff that is going to darten their hands and their nails if they are girls. So that's what happened. And for me, that is important for this talk, that you do not know where you can get an opportunity. If you don't pursue something that your heart is telling you, but also importantly, if you do not despise a job, because one job can lead you to another, and can also help you build a contact base. Because at Makerere at that time, those of us who are not coming from rich backgrounds, and we didn't have what they used to call tall relatives in town, so that when you finish, you're able to work at URA. At that time, there were no Mavis complex or any shops to work in. You only had to work in government. So you need to have somebody who you know in government to connect you. Now, in our case, those who had people were automatic, who knew they were going to get jobs. So for us, we didn't have what should we have done. So we decided to use those kinds of channels to create the technical know-who. You create it, you force it. It doesn't mean that if you're poor or you're handicapped, you cannot create a contact base, because contacts are important, because they will lead you to someone else. Someone else will refer you to somewhere else, or give you a business idea like this, and you find yourselves in a situation of this nature where you're listening to people who are contributing ideas and also building on your own. So that's what happened. And so by the time I was learning to write stories, reporting about what was happening at Makerere University, a gentleman called Chiza Besige, that time, Kano Chiza Besige, in 1999, pens a letter criticizing the movement and turning it upside down. It had never been heard of by that time because Museveni was a king. Museveni was a king, was like a Kabaka, he would not be touched by anyone. But now here is a soldier who writes something and the whole country is turning upside down. So here we were, we have been starting to write, and this is our moment. There's a debate everywhere about his letter. So in 1999, I got this chance to find myself in Makerere University with somebody talking, just casually at a small party of Bonyuro Students Association or something like that. And that was, I remember, Brigadier Charugonza. So I asked him casually, I said, what do you think about this man? You people, you want to court-martial him. What are you talking about? He said, but you know, he has used the wrong forum. But what he's saying is correct. We need to reform. He did not know that that was going to be something huge. The next day, I just went home and sat down in my small room, and then the next day, it was a Friday night. We had a lot of beers. Saturday, I kept quiet. Sunday, I decided to walk to the monitor. When I reached there, Charles Onyangobo looks at the thing, said, where have you been? I said, but I have been home. You have a story like this, and you don't come quickly. I said, but how do I come? I couldn't walk, I couldn't do this. It was at night, and stuff like that. So he said, now, here is my computer, sit. So you can imagine, my decision to shift my career forcefully is now making me sit in Charles Onyangobo's office, in his desk, typing from his computer. This is what that means. So I typed this story, he edits it. The next morning, it is a headline. That day, that time, there were so many radio stations. There was only Capital, and I think Radio 1, and maybe CBS. So everybody is reviewing this story, written by a certain Arinaitwe Rugyendo. No one knows who this boy is. I am scared somewhere down in Kakajo is where I was staying, paying 25,000 shillings for rent. And here I am. The whole country is talking about me. And have a lead story on the front page of the Monitor. And everybody is like up in arms. What is this? What is this? Then everybody at the Monitor is scared. You know, the phone calls are coming in. For me, my name is building. That's how we took off. And everybody, all those editors were very happy that by the time we were graduating, we graduated on the 17th of March in 2000. They called me and said, don't look for a job. We are going to give you a job. We want a graduate who can go and man our office in Western Uganda. And I told them, I come from Barara. That's so easy. I'll be near my mother. That's perfect. I'm willing to go. Nobody had accepted inside the Monitor to work up country, especially graduates. I was perhaps one of the first people to do that. So, on 17th of March, 2000, I don't know who knows, those of you who know some history, who knows what happened that day? Who can tell me? On the 17th of March, 2000, or you had not been born. That day was a very strange day for the whole country and the world, actually. A certain man called Chibwetere burnt people inside the church, somewhere in Kanungu. And here I am with my appointment letter to go to Western Uganda and work. What is the story? The first story was that. And so big that every international media descended on that place called Kanungu because it was abominable. This is something that had been unheard of. And so here I am in the middle of these experienced international journalists looking for the same story. And what do? While at Chitabu Seminary, I had studied a little bit of French. So some of them were from, I think, RFI in France. Some were Belgians. Some were Canadians who could not speak English. The locals would not speak English back, so they could speak French. So they wanted somebody who could play the middleman. And here I was with my broken French, translating for these fellows, writing for the Monitor at the same time, and also hearing these Banyankore speak whatever they were speaking, and I would brief these guys. But for every day, for the next 14 days, every day, they were paying me $100. That was my first time to touch a dollar note like this. For that simple, small job. So what if I had not accepted to go to up country, work there? How would I have gotten this opportunity? The money I picked from that whole exercise was about $1,400. You can imagine 2000. It's the money I used to buy land for my mother. We built a house, grass thatched. No, I put actually, I put iron sheets. And we started from there. I was very happy, extremely happy. Then I started working for the Munanta properly. BSJ is also campaigning the whole country. He's turning it upside down. So I was all over. Those of you who can read all those stories that time, my name was always front page, front page, front page, front page. So all of a sudden, this small boy, the name is too big. Even wherever you go right now, you'll hear people say, but we expect to meet some huge guy. No, I am a very small boy. But because of those daredevil acts is the reason I have a very huge name, but in a small size of a body. And so that time, around 2001, towards 2001, I made a daredevil act with someone else, and we went into Rwanda to start a newspaper. I had no money, but we said, let's go in, because there was nothing like a monitor-like newspaper in Rwanda. So we went in for the first 2-3 months. At around, because we went in January 2001, around April, having started the Rwanda Herald with some soldiers there. Then all of a sudden they said, now these Ugandans cannot bring their wajinga here, their maneno here. That's what they called it. The next morning, we were forced onto a bus back to Mbarara. We never seen that newspaper again. But when we came from there, we had this urge and like, no. What if we went to Kampala? Let's go back to Kampala and see if we can do something. Because the idea was that time that some of my friends were in New Vision, others at Radio West. I was in the Monitor. And we said, but we are the ones really churning these stories out. That time the campaign was hot. The presidential campaign was very hot. I said, but if these stories, we were doing them for ourselves, wouldn't we earn more money? Because that time I was being paid around 240,000 shillings. So I said, no, let's go there. What do we need? The heads, nothing else. We called a few friends here. One had a PC, another one had a laptop. And we went to a place called Kavule, somewhere here, on your way to Kawempe. Rented out one room like this at 250,000 shillings. That was our room. That was our bedroom. That was our dining hall. That was our office. That was our toilet, everything. Now, if you recall that time, before anything else, we sat down and said, what kind of newspaper then? Because there's Monitor, there's New Vision. Monitor is opposition, New Vision is pro-government. What's the other alternative? That time internet was really coming, and we landed on this newspaper in the UK called The Sun. And we said, but this thing can come here. Why don't we do something like this here? It's different. It is out of the ordinary. It can shock people. And you know, we were not married. We were just small boys. Bouncing around, we don't give a damn. So let's sit here and do this. And how we did it, so finally the idea comes, and then we don't have money. How do we print this newspaper? One of us who had worked in New Vision knew a printer somewhere in, I think, 3rd Street. This place has been taken over, I think, by a nice house of plastics. But just on that corner, there was some printing press there, owned by somebody called Alacho. I think he died. He was from Teso. But he knew one of us. So we went to him and said, we have a beautiful idea here. Print it. We go to town, sell the newspapers, and come back. It took us 3 other weeks to convince him. Because we had no godfather. They were asking us recently when we were arrested. Tumukunda was asking, but who's your godfather? We thought you had somebody big. We said, no, we have no one. And everyone was shocked. So at the same time, that's what happened. Because we didn't have any money. And so we decided and said, allow us to take these newspapers to town ourselves. We were weekly now at that time. And bring the money to you. After 3 weeks, he allowed. We did it ourselves here. I was a vendor somewhere in Old Tax Park. Another one was in New Tax Park. Someone else would go to Wandegea. And that's how we did. Another one would go to Kampala Road here. 2 of us would go on a bus. One takes the eastern route, another one takes the western route. That's it. That's how we kicked off. But what helped us was that the idea of a tableau that we thought about, something different, shocked Ugandans, and everybody was turning around and see, but what kind of newspaper is this? As they read it inside New Vision monitor, for us, we were keeping the money. So we took off. Then that time the Ministry of Ethics made a mistake and would arrest us every Friday and would encourage them. So arrest, when you arrest, there's BBC here, he's looking for Rugyendo to make a comment, CNN is here, why are you touching journalists? So we had a divided opinion. Evangelicals versus the liberalists. Everybody, RedPepper is right. The other group says, no, they are wrong. They are spoiling our children. Another group says, but they are saying the truth. And in that way, the people shoot through the roof in a manner that I have never understood up to this moment in time because of our differentiation in terms of product projection. A very long story. And we moved on and moved on and moved on. Went on to become a daily, and we are here. But because of those feats, I think I have been to jail, if I can count really, about like 60 or 70 times. Yes, police jail especially, because every time the story comes out, you are in jail. Next morning, you have the Uganda Road Court, the surety is already, and you go back and publish another story. Like that. That's how we live. We don't give a damn. We don't listen to anybody who tries to say this idea is wrong. For us, as long as we are convinced, we will not listen to anyone. I have never listened to anyone who tries to say your idea is false, is wrong. And from that, everybody has taken note, especially around the continent. That's the things I was telling you when I was introducing myself earlier on. Because you are not the only ones who have invited me. I've been invited to many places, met 5 presidents, and been able to buy a car for my mother and build a higher house, but before we finished it, she died last year. However, the theme is bravery. What must you do? I think many young people, I have some notes that these people managed to thieve out of my interview that I sent you, which I'm going to read for you. And it says a lot, really, and that is my philosophy, which I think you guys should follow. But before I say it out, when I was attending these leadership fellowships in Cape Town and as well as at Oxford, the main theme that was coming out was that very many young people, young managers like you, lack role models, and I'm glad I came when you were speaking about something like that. You have nobody to look up to, nobody within your system, within your locality, within your society that can inspire you. Those people are not there. And I'm glad now things are starting. You could maybe write a book out of this or something like that. When you want to read a book, it is Bill Gates. It's not Bitatur. It is not Mbire. It is not, I don't know who. We don't have role models. And in our case, that was also the same thing. But for me, when I was really moving into my career in journalism, I would want to be like Charles Onyangobo, I want to be like Andrew Mwenda, I'd want to be like Kevin Ariro, David Ouma Warikoa. Those are the people. William Pike, you'd want to be like them. You'd want to put on jeans. I rarely put on any other thing apart from jeans. But today I thought this was a more formal function. I should be a bit formal, but I'm never like this. That rebellious attitude. And then, because we lack models, we lack people who inspire us, therefore, we tend to grow in a predetermined fashion, finish campus, get a job, then get promoted, go for a master's, come back, sit on your desk. You just really can't think out of it. Then when you are done, by the time you're done, you look back and you don't even have a rental. These are some of the things that are affecting us. But if you start early, because at that time, I can tell you when we were starting RedPepper, I was only 23 years, just fresh out of campus, because I'd only worked for 1.5 years. And I took a leap of faith at that age. Very, very important. I'm going to read things out for you so that you're able to take some notes and see if it works for you. If it doesn't, there are many other lessons to pick from. But when you look at so many other people out there, the so-called successful people, I don't want to say I'm successful, no, because I don't have a lot. I don't own any properties, very few houses, small, 1 or 2, 3. But partly because I don't worship money a lot, I believe in being contented, because that's also important. If you're contented, you are stress-free. And when you are stress-free, you can do lots of things, and you can also light a candle, another candle. You can light another candle of someone else, and you will not lose your light at the end of the day. So, but also the mistakes we make is when all your mind from morning to evening is money, money, you don't care how you get it. That also is the other challenge I've seen with young people. But starting early, starting at a young age. But if you are working, I'm not saying go and resign your jobs. If I had a way, I would say yes. But in an economy like ours, I've grown to understand that what worked at that time for me may not work now, but what can work now is a bit of both worlds. Yes, have a base of the job, fine, because it gives you security. Otherwise, you'll be kidnapped here in this town. You need that fallback position, but start thinking outside the box alongside the job. That's, for me, is quite important in this era of an age of development. So I want to read for you this, so it don't take a lot of time. And you see if there's something you can pick. But this is what has worked for me. Then I can take questions. I would like to mainly really do questions. This person who interviewed me this last time, he picked what he called 10 great lessons from Arinaitwe Rugyendo, founder of RedPepper. So the first lesson that he picked, and I've liked this because I'm doing a book, and I would want to pick some of these things for the book. The first lesson is, it is best to start when you are young. Your ideas, and these are my words, your ideas are most pure in your 20s. Face the risks, dare yourself and try something. This is the best time to follow your heart. There is not much to lose. When you fail, you still have your 30s to recover. Lesson number 2. Optimism is a must. You can see I was arrested, and then we are out there. We found a machine dismantled, so we are starting again from zero. Like we've lost like 5 years. But we're very optimistic that we're going to bounce back. So here, lesson 2 is optimism is a must. When you think long enough on something, no matter how hard, no matter how challenging, something great is bound to come of it. Time vindicates. Time frees one up. So don't lose the hope and don't lose the optimism. Lesson number 3. I think I will save these and also give them to you. Maybe you can, if you have a WhatsApp group, you can share them. The best, this is point number 3. The best people have a mix of both worlds. That is the hard work and the smart work. Here, this person was asking me, which one is better, to work smart or to work hard? For me, my view is, I want a mix of both. Be smart, it is best to have a combination of both. Be smart to know when to work hard, but also work hard so you can afford the luxury of working smart. Number 4, listen to your heart. Who knows that song? Listen to your heart when somebody is calling you. Very important. Listen to your heart. Ultimately, it is you. Listen to your heart because you already know what you want to do. Don't let anyone scare you out of anything. You may lose, but at least you listen to your heart and followed its purest intentions. Number 5, hardship early on in life becomes the refinery for greatness. Hardship builds thick skins. Like me, my skin, when I said I've been jailed over 60 times, somebody was shocked here on the front row. I was like, yeah, but hardship, you know. How do you get a diamond? Those who know how minerals are refined. They are hit hardest. And to be able to get a diamond, you have to really squeeze hard. So hardship builds thick skins. It builds resilient personalities. So take your hardships as a great advantage. I know all of you are not having a smooth ride, right? Let's be honest. But it's going to build, take that as an advantage because it makes you think, it makes you build a thick skin and think very, very, very seriously. Lesson number 6. Patience is crucial. Patience. Patience is the greatest strategy where there is none. You can imagine you don't have a strategy, but you have patience. So the greatest of inventors are patient. The greatest army commanders are patient. Always leverage the gift of patience. Lesson number 7. There's no greater virtue than humility. Let me give an example of humility. Somebody was telling me, I think Jean, she was asking for my number from someone else. And she told that somebody, said, but do you think he'll come? The person told him, no, the way I know him, he'll come. But we think he cannot come down there, downtown, and, jump on a board. I jumped on a board when I was coming here. Humility. Humility takes you places. If I was arrogant, what kind of people are those? How many? Me, I'm used to addressing 1,000 people. But for me, I've addressed groups of 3, or 4, or 5, of 10. And we made big wonders. The people who made RedPepper shine worldwide were only 5 people. 5 young boys, aged between 23 and 28. That's it. We were not a crowd. So, there is no greater value than humility. Recognizing that the tables can tilt, and that those at the top can get to the bottom, and those at the bottom can climb up, is a great sense of humility. And this is my philosophy. Be good to the people on your way up because you will meet them on your way down. Lesson number 8. The outside of one's cell may as well be the inside of another. I think those of you who did literature might have come across this. Don't think you are free while you imprison another person. So, like for you'll be at a workplace and you decide to make it a career to kulemesa another person. Because he's going to shine better than you. No mulemesa. You make their life so difficult and you think you are the owner of that place. But you're not understanding that you're in the same prison as that person. So always remember that we are in the same boat. Number 9, people should be kind and a little more selfless. There is no use in greed. I've talked about it earlier on. The better world is where each one of us has an opportunity to do their best and not have someone profiting off the others. Then number 10 is that nothing beats the gift of family. So I take my family as one of the greatest gifts because at the end of the day, like when I was really having these problems, I'll tell you, because I'm doing a book, and one of the chapters is our 44 days in jail. So when I was there, I met somebody who had a man. He was a headmaster of a school in Western Uganda, and then he was arrested, taken in for corruption. And then so he used to tell me, because when I was there, I was receiving visitors. Every day I would receive like 100 of them. But then he would tell me, Rugyendo, let me tell you. Because he had spent, I think, about 5 years. He's doing 15 or something. And by the way, some of you, sometimes take time and visit prisoners. You'll know what life is about. For you are here just running around and You don't know what it means to be in jail even for one day. So I was there, and this guy has spent 5 years. He said, let me tell you, I see you having 100 visitors every day. They are bringing lots of food. People never wanted me to eat their food, so they were bringing me food all the time. You know, I can see you're in luxury. But let me tell you, they started reducing. After 1 week, they reduce. 2 weeks, they reduce. 1 month, you are now 5. Then finally, they start moving to the core of the family. Now it's the relatives who now have time to come, because the others now no longer want to come. So you are going into your 3rd year. Now the relatives, extended family, no longer comes. So it is now your family, your wife or your husband and children. They're the ones now who can come. But they will not come every day. In the 4th year, they come now once a week. In the 5th year, the wife stops coming. What is the reason? She's gotten married elsewhere. Because she has lost hope. Family. You see, at the end of the day, ultimately, you have to work for your family. Ultimately, everything else will happen, everybody else will leave you, but your family might never abandon you. So always learn that in your lifetime and whatever you're doing. That said, I don't want to waste your time because I have a small other meeting somewhere, but I can entertain questions. I promised to speak off cuff. I have lots of presentations, but today I said no, because I first asked what kind of people I'm going to address, and I saw it fit to speak off the cuff, so that we interact and bounce off ideas. That's what I was told Pencil Talks is about, that you can write something and then you can even delete it and then replace it with something else. That's what the whole concept is about. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.